Spider plants are wonderful indoor plants. They're great air purifiers, which of course we all need. This one desperately needs transplanted, and we'll deal with him later. But my daughter brought over her little, they call them pups, the little offshoots from the parents. And we're going to be propagating them today. So there's two different ways to plant propagate, sexual or asexual. Obviously, we're going to be doing the asexual one. So what that means is we create a new plant from a cutting, a seed, or another plant part of the parent plant. And we're going to plant this little bottom part is what's going to get covered in the dirt. We're going to plant up to there. They like well-draining soil. So what I have here, these are self-watering containers. If you see that little lip right there. And so they're self-watering, so we don't need to do anything for that. The terracotta ones, though, obviously are not self-draining. And we have some very heavy pebbles that we're going to be putting in there on the bottom, maybe like one or two because they're kind of big. But that helps with the draining so it doesn't get water saturated. When we finally get them inside, they're gonna like indirect sunlight. So this little guy, who is not so little anymore, he's been hanging in my kitchen window, which is west facing, I think. Sorry, I'm directionally challenged. He is in direct sunlight all day long. Plus I have this beautiful tree up here giving me shade all day. So he doesn't get much sunlight. He's indirect and seems to be doing well, although he's kind of outgrown. So we're going to transplant him at a different time. The spider plants bloom in spring, summer, and fall. Now I have to be honest, this little guy has never bloomed for me. But I think it's because of where he is and flower, not bloom. And the bloom is the flower rather is a white flower, small little white flower. So originally, these plants are from South Africa, and they're a tropical plant. So you can actually, I can't since I'm in Pennsylvania, and we're a zone 6B. Climate keeps changing things. But if you were down south, you might be able to grow these outside year round. And they would be perennial in that case. Here you can grow them, you can plant them outside. A lot of people will plant them outside as annuals. So you might see them in somebody's walkway or something, and that's just kind of cool. So the soil we're going to use today is Miracle-Gro's Moisture Control Planting Mix. One, because it's moisture control, and two, because last year I bought a big old bag that I haven't used yet and need to use it, and I don't like to waste. So normally I would just use my hands and be done with it, but because we have a couple different things, we're going to actually use up, you know what, I cannot use him. This is so embarrassing. Don't worry, I don't use it for drinking purposes. I have a cup that I bought at the dollar store. And I'm just gonna pour him in there, and he's nice and rich, and you can see the nutrients in there. So it has everything you need. If you don't have moisture control potting mix, you can use a combination, excuse me, of vermiculite, perlite, maybe a little peat. But so you can use a combination of different things. And I'm just going to break up some of the soil because it's been sitting for a while, although I've had it covered up nicely. And then we're just going to put him in there. So I've just kind of touched him in there a little bit, and I'm going to put him a little bit more so he's sturdy. And then I'll keep him watered I'll water him like, I don't know, till the soil needs to not be wet. It just needs to be, I generally do it once a week. And I pick a random day. Used to be Sunday because I had a routine, but since I'm usually on the road with the magazine, Sundays is a hit or miss. So Tuesdays is a good day. I can remember Tuesdays. So Tuesdays I go through And I water my comfrey plants, I water my hemlock, I water my elderberry, I water everything in the house. So that's a good way to do it. Now this particular plant, the way I'm watering is I'm going to actually water in the little lip. And that's how the water control goes, because this way I'll water here and the water will come up through the bottom. And that's how it controls the moisture. So I'm going to put a little bit more soil in here just because it's a big pot and I don't want them to fall. And again, sometimes I'll use the cup. Usually I'll just use my hand because I'm washable. And that is how we propagate a plant. So when we go through and transplant the other one, the bigger one, we're actually going to take him out of said pot that he's in and fix him up and just move him to maybe another pot if I can find one that hangs, or maybe just a couple different plants or a couple different pots. So that is how we propagate a plant. So yeah. And I picked him up at the nursery. Well, actually, this one my daughter gave me. But this one I picked up at the nursery. Any greenhouse you can get them at. Got this also at a greenhouse. And the pots as well. These were at a home decor store. They were actually 3-in-1. And it was a whole different thing, but the rest broke through. So in any case, lots of different avenues there. Happy planting. Enjoy.